How do we face the snakes in our lives? Inevitably, throughout our lives, we will all face moments of difficulty, challenge, darkness, pain, suffering, and fear. Indeed, in this week's parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to stand before Paroi, who is described as the great serpent that crouches in the river. I believe that if we look at this interaction, we'll be able to perhaps glean an insight of perspective of what we should think about to get us through those difficult moments in our lives. The sign that Moshe is told to perform before Paroi is that Aaron would cast his staff down onto the ground, the word for staff being a mata, and the staff turned into a snake, a tanin. When Aaron then grabbed hold of the snake reverted back into being a staff, into a mata once again. The snake represents negativity, it represents evil, it represents challenge, whereas the word mata, a staff, actually means to draw down, and therefore Kabbalistically represents a drawdown of godly energy, a hamshacha, and therefore represents the paradigm of goodness. So this process of going from staff to snake and back to staff represents going from a state of goodness to a state of struggle and difficulty, back to a state of goodness. So I believe one of the ways that we can face those snakes when we're going through those moments of difficulty and challenge in our lives, as very frightening as real as they may be, is to look back and to remember that it wasn't always like this. That prior to this snake in my life, prior to this difficulty, there was a mata. Things were good. Focus on the blessings that we had in the past, and then reassure ourselves that eventually this snake will pass, that this difficult time will pass, and we will once again come back to a mata. We will once again experience goodness, a hope for the future. Taking this idea a little bit deeper, the Alter Rebbe explains an unbelievable idea, and that is that the reflection is not just we've had past moments of goodness, even though right now we are facing snakes, we're facing all difficulties, but in fact the snake itself comes from the staff. So what does that mean? We believe that everything comes from Hashem, and Hashem is absolute goodness. And therefore everything comes to us with a divine purpose which must be for the good. So when we face our snakes, when we're faced with moments of difficulty, challenge, fears, and worries, we don't just think back to our past experiences of goodnesses, but we meditate on the idea that this is coming to my life from God, and therefore must be good in essence or in its source, and I need to focus on how I can reveal that positivity within it. Then, armed with that recognition, we can then grab hold of the snake. We can then embrace and face the challenge and the struggle, and eventually we will see it materialize, that we can grow through those difficulties and challenges and bring about a state of revelation of how in fact this was for our better good itself. So Be'ezras Hashem, may we all go and conquer the snakes in our lives with fortitude, with strength, with faith, and with hope, remembering that the snake in front of us was once a mata, a staff, and once again, Be'ezras Hashem, will be transformed back into the mata of open, apparent, and revealed goodness. Good Shabbos.